everyone, it's your girl and our fine girl, no pimples. Who are the people that get affected by a divorce? If you had asked me this question before my husband asked me for a divorce, I would have said the husband and the wife and maybe the parents if they don't get along. But if you had told me, if you were to get a divorce, and I would have said, you better make it hypothetical, because I know that I would never be someone to get a divorce. I would have said, just make it hypothetical. And you said, who would be affected by a divorce? I would have just said, probably nobody. I would have thought that nobody in my situation would have been affected, because I said, based on the communication that my husband and I have, that there's no way, everybody would just go their own way. And I just know that the kind of in-laws that I have, we will be in touch, we'll still be talking, my parents will be communicating with them all the time. It will just be one of those things where this person didn't want to get married because he made a decision, and we would have just been there supporting him. That's what it would have looked like to me, oh my dear. But that's not the case. I don't know how it affects other people, but in my particular case, it affected everybody. It affected everybody differently because everybody showed up differently. Expectations were off completely. And I think that the reason I'm sharing this is that I have an opportunity to coach someone right now that's going through a very difficult time, and I really want her to understand that her expectations are exactly what could be the death of her. You think you know how people should react. Even yourself, you're not going to react to this story the way you think you are. The more time goes by and the more you understand and really wrap your mind around what's happening, you'll realize that your expectations are off, and therefore your expectations of yourself are off, and therefore your expectations of other people, be it your in-laws, your parents, your siblings, your spouse's siblings, or your spouse's cousins and friends, and you are thrown. In my particular case, immediately, like chips falling in place, people took sides. I never thought that in the nature of my relationship that there were sides to take. But that doesn't happen all the time. I happened to talk to a young lady who has surprised me by the nature of her relationship. Her relationship with her mother-in-law grew even tighter. I never thought such a thing was possible. And I'm really impressed with people who find themselves in such a situation, that a divorce can actually bring a relationship between certain in-laws together. Mine was way more grimier than that. And this is not even the video to talk about that. That time will come. But this is just really speaking to the heart of someone who I'm working with right now, which is your expectations are going to be the death of you when you expect it to be a certain way. I think that what's beneficial is if you, what's beneficial is if you deal with the circumstances as it comes along. There is a little girl that was so near and dear to my heart, and I had this whole vision for what it would look like for me to, I don't know what to call her, niece-in-law? I don't know. I thought of all the things that I was going to help coach her with along her life journey, and same could be said about maybe the young ones on my side. There were probably plans on how these young people were going to relate. I had all these things that I had in mind, and one of the most devastating things to me when I get out of my funk sometimes is thinking about, oh my goodness, my relationship with that girl is forever affected. Her opinion about what happened on this journey will be forever tainted by the voice of those who view my interaction with the circumstance in a certain way. So your best bet is to, and it's so disingenuous for me to say let go of expectations, because you're going to have expectations, but the sooner you wrap your mind around it, the easier it might be. But I think at the same time as I spew these words, that no one can tell you how to be. The fact of the matter is you're going to discover it for yourself, and how that it was for me one way doesn't mean it's going to be the same way for you. I think that's fair to say. But I just share my story just because maybe one or two of you, and particularly one girl who comes to mind, is listening to this, and she'll say, you know what, honestly, you did bring it up. you did say this is what the expectation could be or may not be, and this is how it could affect you or may not affect you. So that's something to consider. What you expect people to do is not exactly how they do things. And as a result, even you, the way you think you might react could be adversely affected by the circumstances. So there are so many people who get affected, who can be affected by a divorce that's pending. There are some people who just don't want to mess with you at all. There are some people who don't like the way you handled it. That could be the case in my particular case. And then there's some people who get confused. I think I made a video too about things not to say to people who are going through a divorce, or how not to be. And sometimes there are people who just shun you. I have one friend who I went to college with who completely just saw this situation as something that was cancerous. And I think for her, she feels like if she has any empathy towards my situation, is a reflection on her. And also the fact that I am a divorced person, or someone going through a divorce, is indicative of, I don't know, like maybe it's contagious. I don't know. But I remember being so sensitive to that situation. But now I was so busy counting people who were leaving my life as a result of this, that I wasn't really paying attention to those that were coming in and those that were staying and those who were stepping up to fill roles. And I think that's probably part of what your journey should be. Definitely more in the relationships that will no longer be. And definitely acknowledge, those wishy-washy voices in your life. But know that there are some people who are steadfast, and there are some people who are coming in to take a more steadfast role in your life. Those are some of the numbers that you should pay attention to. Easier said than done. Anyway, that's just what I want to say on this particular video. Thank you so much for watching. For those of you who have recently subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. If you know anyone who's going through a journey like this, please do your best to be empathetic and just be a listening ear. We don't need your judgment. We don't need your shenanigans. We just need you to listen and help us help ourselves. That was very dry. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Remember what I always say. Oh, you know what? I'm going to put a link to my book in the description box below. And I feel like I have not been talking about it. This book is over damn near 10 years old. Not the new book. It's an old book that I have. So I still have a few copies left. Thank you so much for those of you who have recently subscribed to my channel. Remember what I always say. It is up to you to make it a great day.